I am somebody. I may be poor, but I am somebody.
As we talk about the student loan debt, which we will be discussing on the Keep Hope Alive radio show, Reverend Jackson's nationally syndicated radio show, which we stream live on his Facebook page, the Reverend Jesse Jackson Senior page, and the Rainbow Push page from 7 to 9 Central Standard Time, 8 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're talking about the $1 trillion student loan debt problem as we go, and it's a problem, everybody. Think about it. Parent Plus loans, either you can't get grants. It's just a mess, and it is impeding the progress of our children, and we've got to do something about it, and Reverend Jackson is determined to do that along with you. He can't do it alone. We want to, as we welcome this video, we want to give our love to Reverend Derek Mahan from the Beloved Community Church of God of Christ, Bishop Larry Jones, amen, from Crossover Outreach in San Bernardino, California. These are the people who are looking at us right now. Pastor Howard Brigham from Living Waters Evangelism Ministries in Amityville, New York. Give him some love. And Pastor Dr. Gregory Tatum from Change Community Church in Bakersfield, California. We are reaching people all across the nation. That's right, including you, Reverend Bobby Rush. That's right, Reverend Congressman, because we know ecclesiastical titles eclipse all others. This is Bobby Rush Day. Come on, everybody. And now we bring to you some information about this crushing student loan debt, and after that, the voice you hear will be that of the great Maurice Mahan. Please let us roll the video.
My name is Brittany. I went to Tufts University. I studied drama and communications, and I owe $118,000 in student loans.
They tell you, oh, you've made such a good decision by joining our family. This is going to pay off so well in your future, and our graduates have received this and this award and that award, and they're prestigiously employed at, X and such. And so you think that that's clearly what's going to happen for you as well.
So students borrowed money from the government or private lenders, each with different terms, interest rates, and payback options. The students tended to ignore the total tab, or even what's called the opportunity cost, the income they might have earned if they hadn't gone to school. Now the next generation sees what happened and may become wary. But a frightened overreaction is also a risk, says economist Judith Scott Clayton.
The risk is that if they decide not to go because they're afraid of taking out debt, they may actually end up in a worse situation than had they decided to go.
We're starting to see how student debt is driving income inequality, racial inequality, because we're creating the haves and the have-nots in American society, and that is being filled out by those who are forced to take on student debt to get an advanced degree.
This week, Education Secretary Betsy DeVos was held in contempt over judge's order on student loan collection. Wayne Johnson, appointed by Education Secretary Betsy DeVos, resigns and called the student loan system fundamentally broken.
This is such an important issue because this is not just about our future generations and our current generations, but this is about our entire economy. We are experiencing a systemic and economy-wide threat to grinding our economy to a halt because families and people in my generation, older and younger, are not buying cars, we're not purchasing homes, we are not building families because of the scepter that student loan debt represents on our generation.
I really didn't understand the magnitude of them until I graduated. I graduated college in 2009, so it was the height of like the economic recession and the jobs crisis. Everybody pretty much had to like move back home and reassess what to do. Then I started getting the phone calls that say like, hey, so now that you're out of school, you're gonna have to start paying back your student loans, and your minimum amount is astronomical.
What's going on? Student loan debt is the highest ever, trailing only mortgage debt. In the first quarter of 2019, student loan debt rose to $1.49 trillion. That's more than the national totals for auto loan debt and credit card debt. On average, students today are paying over twice what their parents paid to attend college.
Average black student graduates from college with about $50,000 in debt. Our young people are going to escape the prison of debt so that they will have the opportunity to serve.
The possible solutions: cancel student loan debt. Use a wealth tax to cancel all student debt. Improve public service loan forgiveness. And speaking of putting your money where your mouth is, we know someone who did just that.
My family is making a grant to eliminate their student loans.
He was speaking, but out of nowhere, when he said, I'm gonna pay for all your loans, we all looked around, we're like, wait a minute. There's no way, this guy has to be joking. Maybe I'm hearing stuff, maybe it's just too hot, and probably after a good 30 seconds, tears rolled down my eyes. I'm like, wait, I'm debt free.
We applaud Robert F. Smith. We shall continue to find solutions to the student loan crisis.
Hello, my name's Alyssa. I'm a sophomore industrial engineering major at the University of Louisville. I'm so lucky and honored to receive the Jesse L. Jackson Fellows Toyota Scholarship. This scholarship has truly changed my life and plan for my education. Thank you so much, Rainbow Push Coalition and Toyota.
Fighting for you is what we do.
Soldiers, keep on warring now. Whoa, whoa, come on. Keep on turning, 'cause it won't be too long. Oh, listen now. Powers keep on lying to me in my face. My people, y'all, they don't stop dying. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Keep on turning, 'cause it won't be too long. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm so glad that you let me try it again. Last time on earth, I lived the whole world of sin. So glad that I know more than I knew then. We got to keep on climbing till we reach our high ground. Y'all know the song, come on. Hey, yeah, hey. Lovers, y'all love one another, if you don't mind. Preachers, don't stop preaching, no. Believers, if you're still with me, just keep on believing. It won't be too long. I wish I had some help. Oh, so glad that you let me try it again. Last time on earth we lived the whole world of sin. So glad that we know more than I knew then. We got to keep on trying, what? Till we reach higher ground, yeah. Don't let no one put you down. No. Somebody say higher, higher. Believe it. Higher. Here we go. Oh, so glad that you let me try it again. Last time the tear and I know more than I knew then. We got to keep on trying till we reach higher ground. Bless you all. Y'all clap your hands.
What a blessing, the great Maurice Mahan. Come on, everybody, give him some love. As we're here reaching higher ground. That's right, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. But we're but a thought away. Amen. And we've got our young people here. We thank you, Judge Stanley Hill, for all the work that you do. Of course, we do this in remembrance of Mrs. Aura Lee Sanders. Mrs. Aura Lee Sanders, who started working with our young people 50 years ago. Those of us who grew up in Operation Breadbasket and Operation Push, there was not a report period in which you could not give your report card to Mrs. Aura Lee Sanders. And she was going to check your report cards, the hundreds, the thousands of us who came through. We thank God for you today. Let's give her some love as she has ascended to the heavens. Come on, you can do better than that. Amen for that. And it is in that spirit that we have one of our young people here today. This is our future. We thank God for this sixth grader from the Sutherland Elementary School. Put your hands together, everybody, for Carly Lewis.
Good morning. My name is Carly Lewis. But ask me who I am. Come on, ask me who I am. I, Carly Lewis, am a child of the Most High God. I am His and I am loved. He picked me to be His own. I've been chosen and set apart. He has equipped me with every good thing that I need. I have wisdom, righteousness, sanctification, and redemption. He has a plan to give me hope and a future. I am powerful, valuable, and victorious. He sent His Son to die for me, just so I could be forgiven. He showed me grace, just so I could be saved. I am what the Word of God says I am, and I just wanted you to know. Thank you. And now I would like to thank Reverend Jesse L. Jackson, Rainbow Push, and New Covenant Baptist Church for this opportunity to speak this morning.
Oh, I am somebody. Oh, I am somebody. I may be down but not destroyed, empty but not void, 'cause I am somebody. Oh, I am somebody. Oh, I am somebody. You can try to walk away, but at the end of this they sing, I am. Oh, I am somebody. Oh, I am. Look at your neighbor and say, they can try to walk away, but at the end of this they sing, I am. Oh, I am.
Thank you, Brother Maurice Mahan. Thank you, Rainbow Push family. I am Jonathan Jackson, the son of the Reverend Jesse Jackson. It's my privilege, my pleasure to stand before you to bring on my father, the Reverend Jesse Jackson. Last week, I want to say a very special thank you to Reverend Granger Browning, Ebenezer Baptist Church. I had the opportunity to support him on Men's Day. From there, I went to Cookee County down in Evergreen, Alabama. God bless Evergreen, Alabama. And I want to thank my friend, Brother Albert Turner, Commissioner. His father was the head of the SCLC for Reverend Martin Luther King while he was alive. I said while he was alive. I want to thank Reverend Stephen Thurston. Reverend Thurston's father stood with the Reverend Martin Luther King while he was alive. I want to thank our honoree today, the right brother, Reverend Dr. and Army veteran, brother Bobby Rush, he supported Reverend Martin Luther King while he was alive. There are a lot of fakes going on now. A lot of people are trying to appropriate our history. You saw the headline where they wanted Julia Roberts to play as Harriet Tubman because she was such an action-packed hero. And what did the news executives say? They said that black folks didn't remember that long ago, and it didn't matter who could play Harriet Tubman, so they wanted to find someone with blonde hair, blue eyes, to take our heroes. Come on, you all, we've got to fight. Whose job is this to fight for our children's freedom? Why do we let our children sit at home and sleep when we're honoring the Dr. Bobby Rush today? Why, when I went to Detroit, when we eulogized and buried and memorialized the late John Conyers, we didn't empty all the public schools in Detroit to pay homage, to respect one of our leaders, the man who signed more progressive legislation than anyone in American history on Capitol Hill? See, civil rights started in 1864, if you will. And then it got vetoed in 1865, voting rights. It was 100 years later that we actually got the right. John Conyers signed that legislation in 1964. 100 years later, he signed civil rights legislation 100 years later. When everyone thought it was a joke, and we used to go to Washington, D.C., to go out there into the mud in the middle of January saying, "Happy birthday, Reverend Martin Luther King." It was John Conyers that had proposed that legislation when Stephen Morris, known affectionately as Stevie Wonder, wrote the song "Happy Birthday," and then it became a national federal holiday and the federal government shut it down. But the market stayed open. It was the Reverend Jesse Jackson that went to Wall Street to meet with Chairman Dick Grosso of the New York Stock Exchange, to meet with Sandy Weill, the head of the world's largest bank, and said, "Why is the New York Stock Exchange open?" Mr. Grosso said, "We never even thought about it. Let me poll our members. We have a private member organization." We were at 11 Wall Street. He went down there, polled them, came back and says, "Reverend Jackson, I have good news for you. In 1999, the New York Stock Exchange will be closed in honor of the Reverend Martin Luther King." Why am I saying this? Because too many of us are letting our children get a free pass. I wasn't born knowing what to do. My father and mother drugged me up, made me slit in here, made me nod in here, brought me out in the cold, brought me out in the rain. They said, "You're going to learn to fight for yourself." We've got a generation of children that are technically competent, but I think character and culturally, they're incompetent. Don't tell me things aren't fair. Of course that's true. When have they been fair? The question is, what are you doing to fight to make it fair? What are you doing to make a difference? What are you doing for someone else? Or do you just simply show up to organizations and events when you need something? But you don't want to stand in line like the rest of the people because somebody told you that you're exceptional. Somebody told you that you're special. Well, if you haven't read the book Grit, you ought to read the book Grit. And what they go on to talk about is some of the most salient success factors you can put in your child. And number one, they tell you, do not tell your child they're smart. When your child does something well, tell them congratulations on having worked hard. When a child thinks they're smart and they stop trying to work hard, in the end, the tortoise is going to beat the hare every time. We need to stop living with exceptionalism. It's happening to all of us at the same time everywhere. You can be in Naperville, Illinois today. You can be in Gurnee next week. You can live in Beverly Hills, or you can live in Greenwich, Connecticut. You can live in Palm Beach if you want to. You're not going to escape the fight for racial and social justice.
Come on, Jonathan.
And I want to say on this day, to the great Bobby Rush, a generation that has survived assassination attempts.
Yes.
Those that had to fight for victory abroad and victory at home. For him having never stayed away from the fight, Some people come out for a day and go away for a year. Some people come out for a week and go away for another 10 years. Some people in season and out of season have never left the field. And so for that generation, I want to say thank you. When I see Miss Maxine Waters, that's our living legend of Miss Harriet Tubman. She took on the president first. The president attacked that black woman, and she wasn't afraid of him at all. And she says, if you hit me, you better not miss, because you don't want a wounded Maxine Waters coming after you. When Bobby Rush's friend was assassinated, Brother Chairman Fred Hampton at 21 years of age, they did not retreat. They didn't turn to drugs. They didn't turn to a bottle. They turned to empowerment and started voting and registering and getting involved so they could make decisions about our lives. My father, when I think of him and I see that picture of Martin Luther King on the ground with his brains blown out, he didn't turn around. He didn't quit. They got energized and they fought and they stayed on the battlefield. Reverend Martin Luther King taught us that the church should be the headlights leading the way, not looking out the rearview mirror. So a man that's keenly articulate, instinctively intelligent, persuasively analytical, a man, if I could ask God to fashion someone that I could have as a father, that I could grow up to be like, I'd want to be like Reverend Jesse Jackson. I bring you my father, the Reverend Jesse Jackson.
As we bring Reverend Jackson to the microphone, we have a special treat. One of the iconic members of one of the gifts that Chicago and that black people have given to the world is Sam Cooke. And my father adores him, as we all do. We have been blessed today to have someone who has inherited the legacy of greatness, the legacy of music. His granddaughter has joined us today. Put your hands together for Chantel Hampton, everybody. Come on.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, and just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. But I know what's up there behind the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. I go to the movie and I go downtown. Somebody keep telling me don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. Then I go to my brother and I say, brother, help me me back down on my knees. Oh, there's been times that I thought I couldn't last for long, but now I know I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Yes, it will. Thank you.
I am somebody. I am somebody. I am somebody. Respect me, protect me, never neglect me. I am somebody. I am God's child. Stop the violence. Save the children. Stop the violence. Save the children. If my mind can conceive it, and my heart can believe it, I know I can achieve it. My mind is a pearl. I can do anything in the world. I am God's child. Put your hands together. Put your hands together.
Oh, I am somebody. Oh, I am somebody. I may be down, but not destroyed. Empty, but not void, 'cause I am somebody. Yeah.
We thank and praise God for the New Covenant Church family, Reverend Steve Thurston. Steve, we thank you so much. In tradition of Elijah Thurston and John Thurston, Dr. King's very close and dear friend, we are here today and next Saturday as well. It will be at Mount Pisgah for all of December. This Saturday, next year, we're at New Covenant, here at 76 in College. Then we're in the process of reconstructing our building. That's why I'm asking those of you who will, with your frat, sorority, or church, give us $1,000 and now for our reconstruction. We intend to reconstruct the building. It's been a great historic landmark. Harold Washington spoke there. Gus Savage spoke there. Charlie Hayes spoke there. Mandela spoke there. Can I get a witness? Barack Obama spoke there. So it's an international frame of reference. Tuesday night, Sister Morris, we need volunteers. You know, we can't pay for everything. Rosa Parks was a volunteer. Dr. King was a volunteer. Jesus was a volunteer. People want to get free, so they got to do something just because it's right. If you have a talent, if you can sing, as Chantel can sing, we're going to be using much more of her talent in days to come. If you can sing, if you can be an usher, if you can use telephone, do robocalls, so everybody can do something. We have 9,000 children in Cook County Jail, pre-trial detention. Some been there 7 years waiting for trial, 7 years. They can't afford to have a trial, 7 years. But we're going to register them, we're going to register them to vote. And we're also going to get computers. We're going to get all of them a voter registration. We're going to have a precinct inside Cook County Jail. Say precinct inside the jail. And all around the nation, there are more of our youth in jail than there are in prison. They have a right to register, a right to vote, unless they've been otherwise convicted. So part of our work is pre-trial detention, voter registration. A second piece of it is that on Tuesday night, how many of you have student loan debt? Stand. Student loan debt, stand. Student loan debt, stand. Student loan debt. Put your hands together, student loan debt. Now, I watched the debate in Atlanta the other night, and I watched them shoot right past some of the HBCUs. If they cut Pell Grants on the one hand, and raise student debt on the other, we can't go to school. That's cultural genocide. If they cut Pell Grants on the one hand, and then have Parent Plus loans, you can't borrow money on it. They won't even let us borrow money to educate. Let us borrow money to educate us. See, we in fact in a struggle for the minds of our children. They must not cut Pell Grants. We reject Parent Plus loans. We must end student loan debt. And so these are the issues of our time. And there's so much going on these days, and one of them, key to it, is protected voter registration. These people running for office, hear them well. There's a lot of attacks on Biden. So the absence of Trump is not the presence of racial justice. So the absence of Trump is not the presence of justice. We need more than the end of Trump. We need justice, education, health care, jobs, and livable wages. Talk to me, somebody. I wanted Brother Bobby Rush to be with us. I want to honor Bobby because Bobby, I remember when he was walking around the night wearing shades, looking half gangsterish. He and Chairman Fred and Mark Clark, he was finding his way through the dark, searching. I went to meet with Bobby, with Huey Newton and Bobby Seale in California. She came out with a message to Chairman Fred and Bobby on the West Side. Finds he always was searching for something, trying to get there. And when the night Fred was killed, Bob was scheduled to die. Then said Bobby Rush was scheduled to die. December 4th, Bobby Rush was scheduled to die December 4th, 1969. But God had another plan. He has served us diligently across the years in the council, in the Congress. Put your hand together for a big round of applause for our birthday boy, our man, our preacher, our pastor. On your feet, Reverend Dr. Bobby Rush, Congressman Bobby Rush. Bobby.
The absence of Trump does not mean the presence of justice. I want to, y'all please take a seat. I want to just give honor where honor is due. Reverend Stephen Thurston, we certainly are thankful for more than we could ever speak of, for what you've done, not only for this day, but for what you have done on behalf of the liberation movement in this nation throughout many generations. And we certainly want to lift you up today and thank you for your hospitality. I want to make sure that you all go out and buy that book, Keep Hope Alive, and buy a lot of copies of it, and put it on your Christmas tree. You can't give a better Christmas present than Reverend Jackson's book. I want to make sure that we all, each and every one of us, do something to rebuild that building at 51st, 50th and Drexel. It's not just the Reverend's responsibility. It's all of our responsibility. I think of all the people all across the nation, all across the world that have looked to that address, looked to that plot of land to help save themselves. When they needed it, it was there for them. And you and I are obligated to do all that we can. $100, $500, $1,000, whatever, to make sure that that building stays there. It's not just for Reverend Jackson, it's for all of us. Let me thank Operation Push and Reverend Jackson for bestowing this great honor upon me today. I want to thank my family who is present before me. All of my family, all of my friends. I want to thank all of you for coming out today. I want to thank my wife of almost 2 years, my new wife, evangelist, minister, Paulette Holloway Rush. Give her a big round of applause. Stand up, honey. She's been taking well care of me. I want you to know that. And I'm so delighted to see all my friends, some from even from the Panther Party. If you are here from the Panther Party, if you will, please just stand up and wave your hand if you're here. Those who my comrades in the struggle, thank you all so very, very much for being here with me. My grandson and my granddaughter, y'all coming up here with me if you will. Well, my grandson, these are my two grandkids. They are great students, great college students. Reverend, I just got to tell you, I came to give a report on a few matters. I want to let you know that you told me about a year ago that there was not a federal bill, not a federal law against lynching. And you charged that up right there. And you charged me, you charged me with the task of filing a bill. And I want you to know I took it seriously. I filed that bill. It's passed out of the Judiciary Committee, and we should be hearing it on the floor of the House sometime in the next couple of months. We'll hear that bill. We'll pass it out of the House. The Senate has already passed their version. The House has got to pass my version, and then we'll go into a conference committee. My bill is the real bill. It's the real deal, and we're going to make it strong and pass this, finally a bill against lynching. I just want you to know that Reverend has given me a little bit of time, and I don't want to take this time. I just want to say that some 50 years ago, the hand-in-hand with the collusion of the FBI, the Department of Justice, they, at 4 a.m. on December the 4th, came into the West Side community in the middle of the night, early in the morning, dark. They came and in the Commonwealth Edison's trucks, sliding in, sneaking in to the West Side and to the black community with the sole purpose of killing Fred Hampton and Mark Clark and everybody that was in that apartment. All the leadership had been scheduled to be in that apartment. I was scheduled to be in that apartment. And everybody, they came in with machine guns and shotguns and rifles to kill everybody in their apartment. They drugged Fred Hampton. The informant drugged Fred Hampton. Our lawyer said that he had more Seconal in his body than it would take to immobilize an elephant. They drugged Fred. They drugged him for one reason. And they knew that if he had not been disabled, had not been drugged, there was no way that they were going to kill him without killing some of them. So they drugged him to immobilize him. They killed Fred Hampton and Mark Clark and wounded 7 other pastors. They thought I was in their apartment. They came to my apartment at 5 a.m. the very next morning, shot my door down. If I had been there, I would not be here if I had not been there in that apartment. So the Lord saved me twice, 2 times. They came to my apartment. I was underground, staying. First, Father Clemens hid me out. Father George C. Clemens hid me out in the rectory at Holy Angels Church on Oakwood Boulevard. We all figured they wouldn't raid a rectory. So he hid me out. I stayed there 2 nights. And then I went up on the Gold Coast, on Astor Street, living with the white folks up on the Gold Coast on Astor Street. I hid out on the Gold Coast. I figured they weren't going to raid the Gold Coast. But then we got in contact with Reverend Jackson, Kermit Cole, my lawyer, Renard Robinson, and Howard Stafford. Called Reverend and said that they had a warrant out for my arrest. I knew if they saw me on the street, they would have shot me down on the street. So we called Reverend Jackson and said, we want to turn ourselves in to Operation Push. And he said, bring them on. So on that Saturday morning, on December 7th, Reverend met me, saved my life. I remember the words just like they were spoken today. He said, I want y'all to look at him now. And he ain't got a scratch on his head. He ain't got blood on his lips. He still got all his limbs. He better be that way the next time we see him. He saved my life. He accepted me at Operation Push. And I just want to tell y'all that cancer didn't kill me. The police didn't kill me. Y'all ain't gonna like this, but Obama didn't beat me. You helped me. And I want to tell y'all this. In the words of Alfalfa, the little black boy on Little Rascal, I'm still here. I'm still here. The Lord has been good to me. He's brought me from the red clay of Georgia and brought me all the way to Capitol Hill. Because of you, you and you and you. He brought me and put me on a committee in the Congress. The only committee in the Congress that is written in the Constitution, the Committee on Energy and Commerce. It's a very powerful committee with broad jurisdiction. And I just want you to know that we like to say how we like to describe our jurisdiction thusly. If the sun shines on it and the wind blows on it, then we, the Commerce Committee, have jurisdiction over it. It's the broadest jurisdiction of any committee in Congress, including principal responsibilities for legislative oversight relating to telecommunications, consumer protection, food and drug safety, public health, air quality, and environmental health, the supply and delivery of energy, and interstate and foreign commerce. This jurisdiction extends to 5 congressional departments, federal departments, including the Department of Energy, the Health Department, Health and Human Services Department, Department of Transportation. We have jurisdiction over the FCC and the FDA and many, many others. So we got broad jurisdiction. And because of the voters of the 1st Congressional District and Operation Push and Reverend Jackson, I am the second leading Democrat on that full committee. I am the second in charge of that full committee. I got more seniority of everybody on that committee except one other person. And I don't take it lightly. And I don't let them take it lightly. I want you to know this is just a report that there are 55 members of the Congressional Black Caucus right now. All my young life, I have been fighting for black power. Now I'm a part of black power. 55 members, and our influence is broad in terms of the black caucus. Maxine Waters and Elijah Cummings and all of us, we meet every week to discuss the affairs of the black community. And let me just kind of bring it closer to home. Right now, there have been about 800 bills that relate to you and I. And at least 500 of those bills are sitting on the desk of the Senate President McConnell, Mitch Graveyard McConnell. We can pass it out of the House, but if it don't pass out of the Senate, then it just dies in the Senate. And Mitch McConnell is sitting on over 500 bills. Listen to some of the bills that O'Connor is sitting on that are important to you. He's sitting on H.R. 1, the first bill of this House, which is the People's Act. And this bill addresses voter access, election integrity, election security, political spending, and ethics for the 3 branches of government. It's sitting there on McConnell's desk. He will not bring it up for a vote. The Paycheck Fairness Act. This bill addresses wage discrimination on the basis of gender and sex. Women ought to be paid the same as men. And if the Senate will hear this bill and vote for this bill, it will be federal law. But Mitch Graveyard McConnell is sitting on it on his desk. The Bipartisan Background Check Act. So that everybody who got a gun must be able to have a background check. We ought to know who some of these people who are legally buying guns, whether or not they are mentally ill or otherwise ill, so that before they are able to buy a gun. Mitch McConnell is sitting on that bill. Raise the Wage Act so that everybody will have a minimum wage. Mitch McConnell is sitting on that bill, protecting people with pre-existing conditions. Trump want to eliminate pre-existing conditions. And we passed a bill in the House a long time ago. And Mitch McConnell is sitting on that bill. There are 500 bills like this that Mitch McConnell is sitting on that bill. You need to get involved. You need to call the Senate President's office. You need to tell Mitch McConnell, get off your duff and bring those bills up to a vote. You need to maintain and fight for that. Lastly, Reverend, something that's close to your heart. 10 days ago, I wrote a letter to the president and owner of Comcast, the owner of Xfinity. Y'all know Xfinity. Y'all know Comcast. Y'all made Comcast. Comcast would not be Comcast if it wasn't for the black community. Black people spend more of their dollars, entertainment dollars, on cable TV than on anything, any other type of entertainment. Why? Because it's cheaper. We all have the high and most expensive package of cable TV, of Comcast. I wrote a letter to Brian Roberts, the owner, the founder, son of the founder of Comcast. And I told him that I was upset because he, along with the Solicitor General of the United States, Trump's Solicitor General, took a case by a man by the name of Byron Allen. Byron Allen lost it in 2 jurisdictions. But the Ninth Court of Appeals said that Byron Allen could have a trial, and that Comcast needed to enter into a trial with Byron Allen. Well, Comcast didn't want to do that. They thought that they might, and the probability that they would win, that Byron Allen would win in the Ninth Court of Appeal. So what did Comcast do? Your Comcast. Say my Comcast. What your Comcast did was say that we don't want to go back to the Ninth Court of Appeal. We want to take this to the Supreme Court. They took it to the Supreme Court. And this is what they argued in the Supreme Court. Your Comcast, say my Comcast. They argued before the Supreme Court that you, the owner, you the customer of Xfinity, you the customer of Comcast, that you don't have the same rights before the law that white folks do. Comcast went and said, this is how they did it, said that if anyone, you or I, go into court and argue that we have been discriminated against, then it's incumbent upon me and you to prove that race was the sole reason for the discrimination. Currently, you ain't got to prove that race was the sole reason. Currently, you can just say that race was one of the reasons. We are not mind readers. We're some bad people, but we can't read minds. How am I going to prove that I am discriminated against anybody who refuses to sell me a house, hire me, let me live next to them, whatever? How am I going to? It's almost impossible to prove that 100% of my difficulties, my discrimination, was caused by racism. But that's what Comcast has tried to do. Comcast has, in 1866, there was a Civil Rights Bill passed. It was the Civil Rights Bill of 1866. And this bill said that black people, ex-slaves, had the right to engage in economic fairness, economic parity. That we had the same rights before the courts that white folks did. And Comcast, your Xfinity, would have the gall to go into court and argue that you don't have the same right as white folks. That if it comes to your case, you got to prove with beyond a shadow of a doubt, 100%, that your grievance is caused by racism. That ain't right. Every Civil Rights Act, every Civil Rights Act since that 1866 Civil Rights Bill was founded on the bedrock 1866 Civil Rights Bill. All of them. Every bill since Civil Rights Bill since 1866 is grounded on the 1866 Civil Rights Bill. And Comcast, your Comcast, my Comcast is in the Supreme Court right now trying to rob you of that basic right. I'm mad at Comcast. I'm going to fight Comcast. I sent them a letter and told them in essence that maybe you too big. Maybe we need to break you up. And since that time, the NAACP, Bernice King, the Congressional Black Caucus, the Hispanics, the Asians, all of us are coming together because we want Comcast to either cut us in or we're going to cut it out. That's what we are trying to do. You're going to hear more about it as we go forward. But I'm telling you now, Reverend, this fight is still in front of us. Some of us would love to retire and do what we wanted, what retirees do, but some of us can't give up right now. The fight is still in front of us. And I just want to thank Operation Push. And the Reverend, I love myself some Reverend Jesse Louis Jackson. I love myself some Reverend Jesse Louis Jackson. Let me say it again to you. I love Reverend Jesse Louis Jackson. Thank you, Reverend, for all that you've done from the South Side to South Africa. Thank you, Reverend, for all you've done from Sugar Ditch to Capitol Hill. Reverend Jackson has been there, and I love myself. So, Reverend Jackson, thank you, Reverend, for this honor. My family honors you. I love your family. I thank you so very, very much.
And I love some Bobby Rush, too.
We are Sanctuary. We are a sanctuary.
When I think of Rainbow Push, I think of two words: social justice.
Education advocacy.
Political empowerment.
Freedom and equality.
Corporate partnership.
Stop the violence. Save the children. Don't get in. Shut it down. If we don't get in, shut it down.
Political change.
Inclusion, evolution. Progress, justice.
Jesse Jackson.
Keep hope. Keep hope alive. Alive. Keep hope. Keep hope alive. Alive.
We want to be bridges to end these cultural deaths.